All right, welcome everybody to your Healthy Self podcast and webinar. This is your host and moderator today, Cade Archibald, and really excited to be here with two amazing people. We got a really cool show for you today. For those of you that didn't join us last night, we had our Health Accelerator Challenge and course came out yesterday. And that is focused on mobility, pain reduction, and really giving you solutions on how to improve your mobility and reduce your pain. And so if you weren't on there, make sure you type into the chat box or reach out to Anne. You can also get registered for that at our website, acueastwest.com/hack. That's HAC, stands for Health Accelerator Challenge or course. Really excited to be here, and we have the OG himself, Regan Archibald, the normal guy that's here, not the normal, the original, not to be normalized, but really founder of East West and East West Anodynes, and a really rad guy. And along with Regan, we have the one and only, she's been on the show. It's been probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years even. It's been a little while. Dr. Anna Cabeca. She is just amazing. So excited to have you on the show. And I'll read a little bit about her to our audience. It's been a long time, and I'm sure these guys would love to know a little bit more about you. Dr. Anna is known as the girlfriend doctor, triple board certified, Emory University trained OBGYN. She's the author of 2 best-selling books, The Hormone Fix, groundbreaking holistic lifestyle program for menopausal women, and Keto Green 16, a comprehensive nutritional plan to staying healthy and slim at any age. She's also spent years developing and perfecting a complete suite of life-changing products and programs. She is amazing. We met in Milwaukee like a couple years ago at a workshop, and it was just a really cool experience to get to know her. So I'm so excited and honored to have you on the show.
Well,
Welcome,
I am
Dr.
thrilled to
Anna.
be here. Thanks. Love seeing you guys again. And yeah, great to be here with your audience.
Yeah, so good to have you back. Thanks, Cade, for the great intro. And we're going to dive into some deep stuff today, but Cade, any other announcements before we launch this thing?
No, just wanted to make sure everybody on here knows how to get access to the Health Accelerator course. And if you were on that, make sure you were following through with your challenge this week.
Yes.
I got some good electrolytes last night and this morning, so I'm feeling primed.
Awesome. Yay.
That challenge sounds exciting. That's good. You guys did that. We just did a 3-day fasting challenge in our group. So how do you guys typically break a fast? Tequila, wine. I'm kidding.
Vodka usually.
Potato vodka, of course.
Always a dilemma, it's like, what am I craving the most,
Right. Yeah. Really slowly is a great way to break a fast. So Dr. Anna, you've been doing a ton of cool things. I mean, the thing I appreciated most when we had our conversation when we first met, I was like, keto green, that is what everyone needs to be doing. I see so many of my patients, they get on keto and their liver's not ready. They got yeast in their gut, their thyroid's, your thyroid needs some carbohydrates to start converting that T4 to T3. And so I just saw that it created more harm than good. And then you talked to me about this keto green concept, and I said, that's it. That's the way to do keto. So how did you come across that yourself?
Wow. It's that self-experimentation for sure, right? Yeah. Our mess becomes our message. Well, I mean, part of my story, Regan, is that when I was 48, I was like spiraling into the second menopause. And I experienced what so many of my patients experienced, or they would come in and say, Dr. Anna, and I know they say this to you too. They'll be like, they would say, Dr. Anna, I'm gaining 5, 10, 20 pounds and I'm not doing anything different. And of course, my first reaction was like, sure, you're not.
Right.
Really, that's impossible. And then I investigate thyroid, do all the hormone stuff. And really what was really fascinating, that same thing, happened to me. So 48, not doing anything different, had kept off 80 pounds for nearly a decade. And literally 20 pounds came on overnight without doing anything different.
Wow.
And so it made me, along with that weight gain, was brain fog, memory loss, plummeting energy, mood swings, irritability. I mean, it was just that. And as a single mom with 2 teenage daughters and a wee one in elementary school, couldn't afford that. But really what was bugging me was the weight gain and the brain fog, because our memory, right, especially as physicians, we remember everything. And as working in infertility and with women's health, and I could remember everyone's last menstrual period, right, and just really had the timing down. And I was really struggling with that too. And you wonder, is this just going to get worse from here, right? And as already as a hormone specialist, I had my hormones dialed in. So there was something I was missing. And knowing about keto for brain health, using it in patients, and very low carbohydrate restrictive programs for my candidate patients, and a daughter that I have with seizure disorder, I went strict keto. And I started, definitely started getting more irritable and agitated. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Right? What's going on? And I did what every good functional medicine doc will tell you to do. And I started checking my urine pH. And I was so acidic as the pH paper would read. And that was an aha moment for me, because I was like, okay, I know I'm eating an acidic diet, but I'm, drinking my greens and I'm, well hydrated. But no wonder I'm feeling irritable and on edge. And so that made me really add in really focus on the microgreens and the low carbohydrate, right? The beet greens. I mean, I was throwing them away for decades. Anyone throwing away beet greens? Man, those are powerful
They're my
antioxidants.
favorite. I love beet greens.
So good. So good, right? They are so good. And you can just, add them, saute with butter, onions, squirt lemon juice all over them to take away the bitterness. And I can just, eat them out of the pan. I mean, but very alkalinizing. Kale soup, bone broth. And all these ahas started to come together. So dietarily, nutritionally, I started to get more alkaline, weight started coming off. I felt clearer. And, and then because I'm continuously testing my urine pH and ketones, I recognized those mornings I woke up and I did my gratitude journaling, I did my prayer and meditation, or I walked on the beach, I was more alkaline all day. So that was a huge aha moment for me to put together the alkalinizing benefits, right, of decreasing cortisol's acidic, oxytocin is alkaline. And so by decreasing cortisol, you decrease the acidity in your body and decrease the inflammation. And we do that best by doing activities that increase our oxytocin. So that combination of eating keto green and living keto green was game changing. I lost the pounds right away, and I started experimenting on my most difficult patients, my menopausal patients. And now it's been, tens of thousands of women have been doing my program, and men, and really the combination is powerful.
You're working with men now too.
Man, I tell you, they come along for the ride. I tell you, it takes a strong man to come to a gynecologist.
I don't have the parts that you specialize in, but
Exactly.
I do
I
have the
got you.
hormones.
Don't you worry.
We can work around that. Yeah, that is great. So you said some fascinating things, because the lifestyle is, so I just want to go back to that for a minute, because I think a lot of our patients, they push so hard. I remember being on it was yesterday, I was on the phone with a patient, and she's got all these things going on, and she's just telling me like, Regan, I can't slow down. And and I don't have the luxury to kick back and relax. And I can't, it's just like excuse after, it's the ego telling her that relaxation was not in her wheelhouse. It was not possible. And I just kind of laughed, and I'm not laughing at her, but trying to laugh to break up the tension that she was creating. I was like, so it feels like your life is pretty chaotic. It seems like there's no end in sight to all the madness, is there? And then, after a minute after I said that, I just kept restating. She finally kind of broke out of it and saw what I was doing for her. And then we made the pact that she's going to listen to some binaural beats, at least when she's in the midst of her chaos. She'll have binaural beats going in the background. So we'll see how that goes. But how do you get people from that state of mind of constant chaos? Because when the hormones are run out, it's like you're living on this pure adrenaline. But how did you get your mindset to the place where, like, I'm going to go walk on a beach and I'm going to do a gratitude journal?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, because we think, okay, I don't have time for that. And for me, single mom, single-handedly running my business, teenagers, I mean, there was chaos there. But what I found was that, once you get started, you recognize how much better everything is. Like, my teenagers were better. I mean, I remember this one morning, and this is like the payoff. And for especially any moms, and, in the house with relationship, this is what I emphasize: when you're better, everyone around you is better. And when you're calmer and more peaceful and less frazzled, everyone around you is more settled. And it's like, experiment, because it's game changing. And what I recognize as I got into this keto green, I initially called it keto alkaline state. So the keto alkaline, keto green state. And I remember one morning, and I was, and taking this practice of doing this little journal, the St. Ignatian devotional, where I ask myself 3 questions in the morning. This practice is game changing. I ask myself these 3 questions: is, where did I see love yesterday? Where was I loving, or could have been more loving? And where could I have laughed at myself more?
Wow.
3 questions.
Wow.
And I remember coming down for, one morning, and I'm telling you, I'm the mom that was like late to school, taking the kids to 3 different schools. And since I was late, I drive just through Starbucks anyway. We're late, right? You guys are going to get breakfast at Starbucks today. And that was, it was a crazy time. And so I remember getting down, making breakfast. And then my girls, one after the other, came down dressed and ready for school, on time to catch the bus, and kisses on the cheek. And I'm like, what alternate universe have I gotten into? It changed my life, and it changed my relationships. And that's the physiology of peace, the physiology of joy, the physiology of happy, the physiology of calm. And we get this through the small little habits we create on a daily basis that empower our body, mind, and spirit. And, like, biggest thing of all, right, our relationships. And let me tell you, I told you as we came in, I moved to Dallas from Georgia, where I lived for 21 years, just for a couple months, right, to be a rodeo mom and run my business remotely. And my other daughters, who were in college in Georgia and working in Georgia, they moved up here too. I'm like, wait, I left Georgia for,
Right.
and they all came too. I mean, that's really a power of relationship, and I love it.
So your daughters are there with you in Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's some great food there.
Oh, so good. Oh my gosh, some great food.
Yeah, I've taught a couple seminars in Dallas, and so all of my friends there are like, let's go out to eat. I'm like, great, and it's such a cool place.
Let's
Texas
do it
is.
again. I'm ready. Let's have a seminar.
I got to come down
Texas
there.
is lifting its
The-
bans.
yeah. Oh, I know. I wish I'm waiting for Utah. I'm like, come on, let's get on board here. Let's get back to life. Because I worry about that. And the oxytocin is, what's happened in 2020, and now it's, moved into 2021 is the lack of hugs, the lack of seeing the expression. I mean, the human face, like, we have a chemical reaction in our brain when somebody smiles.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see it in people's eyes a little bit, but I miss the face, and so maybe you guys in Texas are going to have more alkalinity in your blood now, because more oxytocin, less cortisol. And so,
Mhm. Well,
so
and I worry about it too, because my youngest, who's, the horse barrel racer, she is in 7th grade and she's in school, and they
yeah,
wear masks all
all
day.
in,
And
yeah.
she hasn't, because she's a new girl, she really hasn't been able to have, like, like there's been no sleepovers, there's been no, and we really miss that stuff.
Yeah, my son, his school just opened again. It's been all virtual here in downtown Salt Lake, and now he's picked up a new friend, and the friend's been sleeping over. I've been taking him out to the gym in the morning because they're on the freshman basketball team together, and I can just see his energy levels are so much higher because now he's got a friend, and he's
Yeah.
a teenager. He's 14, well, just turned 15, and so it's so cool to see. But I think, pulling that apart, I worry about as you talk about I worry about the alkalinity in their blood from a physiological perspective, and then
Right.
how can they really make that connection? So you asked the three really cool questions.
Yeah.
Can you repeat those? I know one is, laugh at yourself more. How could I have loved more? Can you repeat those for?
Yeah. Yeah. Where did I see love yesterday?
Where did I see love? So I'm going to ask everybody to ask yourself this question. Sorry to cut you off there,
No,
Dr. Ann.
great.
But ask yourself every question. Oh, thank you, Ann. So where did I see love yesterday? Holy cow, and you're doing this in the morning. So you wake up at night, or you wake up from a great night's sleep, and you're looking
Yep.
back and reflecting on yesterday. Where did I see love?
Yeah.
And you got to feel it to see it, is what
Yeah.
is a cool thing. That's what I love, that question. That's so powerful. And then you go to the second question.
Yeah. So like even just thinking, where did and you can do it at night. I usually read and crash at night. So I do it the first thing when I wake up, but you can do it at night before you go to bed. Like, where did I see love today? Where did I feel love? Like, okay, when I came in and Ava gave me this hug and told me about her day. Oh my God. Okay. I feel love there. When someone complimented me at the grocery store, she, liked my jacket or hair or something. I'm like, oh, I received that as love. Thank you. And where was I loving? Where did I compliment? Where did I, give kindness? Where was I, charitable? Like, how did I give love? And if I can't come up with something, okay, first thing today, I've really got to focus on making sure I'm giving and showing some love today. I could have, or in a situation like a conflict with an employee, where could I have switched that around and been more loving in my response or in my reaction? And so it's checks and balances too, without judgment. And then, so the second one is where did I give love?
Right. And I think that's a cool, because it's like an action item. And one of the things I like to do before I go to sleep at night, I got this from Dan Sullivan, but is you think of the 3 wins, the 3 coolest things that happened that day. And then what do you want to have happen the next day? So your subconscious mind goes to work at night when you're sleeping on what do you want to create for the next day? Because we create our own realities. So I'm going to ask my brain tonight to think, okay, where can I show more love tomorrow? And then I'll wake up tomorrow and have that conversation. And then and so the third one is, how could I have laughed at myself more?
Yeah. Yeah. Or where did how could I have laughed at myself more? And typically, we laugh at ourselves, and you'll start laughing at yourself all day at the little things, little thoughts. And it becomes this practice. And of course, laughter increases oxytocin, brings in joy, and this concept of, just not sweating the small stuff. And man, there's usually a long list of things that I laugh at myself for, like slipping in the mud at the horse ranch. I'm not going to get cranky about it. I'm going to laugh about it. And if that happens, that it's like, okay, I was irritated by that, but how could I have laughed at that? And that's a good checks and balances too, because, that there's so many things that are quite humorous, and so many people, frankly, are quite humorous.
Yeah.
And so, I like how you can twist that around, and then you really do start to see the fun side of things more.
And it's just such a grounded way to start things off, because sometimes with journaling, I do what's called the mindset morning. And so I have like my goals, and I'm trying to like visualize. Mine's more of a masculine process, is what I'm realizing, which is fine. I think we all need to, I'm a man, as you know, so it's, uh,
A very
um,
sexy man. Yes.
yeah. Oh, thank you. And you're a very sexy lady, but yeah. So then it's like, well, how can I put the feminine aspect in there? And using the word love is like, it's so powerful because love is like it's an emotion that drives you to action. You know, we love our kids, we love our family, we love our purpose, what we do. And so it's like, man, how can I put more of that into life? Because that's the essence of it. Too much masculinity, you get burned out. You just don't feel good.
Well, I think there's that energy, right? So that's the yin and yang where we have that balance. And what was really powerful, you know, being a scientist, I needed to understand why was this shifting my urine pH to alkaline? And then I got into, you know, renal physiology, and lo and behold, cortisol increases hydrogen ion excretion across the renal tubules. So you're getting more acidic urinary pH. So for me, this urine pH measurement is a biomarker as important as our weight, as our pulse, as our heart rate variability. I mean, it just shows us throughout the day, like how we're reacting. And as you start shifting your mental physiology and nourishing your body in a really healthy way, you start to see, you start to feel the shift. And then you are more, it means easier to be kind, more pleasant, more joyful, have a resting smile instead of a, you know, frown. And as, you know, getting older, I don't want, you know, those wrinkles to be all frown lines. They got to be happy smile lines. There's ulterior, right? Ulterior motives for this. Vanity motives. Got to have some vanity motives, right, guys?
I got no problem with that. Yeah, I mean, I want to live a really long life. I just don't want to look old, right? I mean, that's
Old and cranky. You know, I'm fine with wrinkles as long as I look like, you know, that happy old.
I love that. So we got a couple of comments. So Shane said this morning, I turned off the hot water to do the 20 to 30-second cold shower. So one of our challenges a couple of weeks ago, we do weekly challenges, and it's like, okay, cold shower, 20 seconds. And said that water was icy. My breath went into auto hyper short breaths, which ended up cracking me up. I was laughing so loud. My wife commented, "Hey, what are you laughing about in there?" And I'm like, and I'm not in there with you. You're just having, the dialogue in your head. So thanks, Shane, for sharing that. And good job on your cold shower. Keep it up. And then Diane asked, do you just buy the pH strips to test yourself? And is there a difference in the strips? And what's your ideal pH levels? Would be kind of a question I'd have too.
Yeah, those are good questions. And of course, when I started out, I had pH strips, pH paper, keto strips. And so of course I created my own keto pH strip so I can measure ketones and pH on one pad. As physicians, we have the urine test strips all the time, and we use up a bottle very quickly. But if we're just doing one a day, and I recommend test 3 or 4 times a day, or actually every time you go to the bathroom, especially when you're trying something new, exercise, meditation, or whatever, to check regularly. But it will, you know, with heat and humidity and being in South Georgia, I found that the strips didn't last as long, and wherever they came from. So I put in my one tube of 100 strips, 50 are free, and then another 50 in a foil pouch, so it lasts longer. So honestly, I have the best strips out there, keto pH strips. So, but you can get just pH paper from any grocery store, and you want it to be 7. And so like 7 when you wake up in the morning, because we're detoxing all night. And so if we're real acidic when we wake up, we're probably real stressed, cortisol's real high, we might not be sleeping as well. And I've been experimenting now with this sleep apps and check, because I'm a terrible sleeper. I'm born OBGYN. Regan, I never slept a good night, right, in my life. Right. So I'm really working on that, especially being in solo practice and waking up in the middle of the night and up early. So always like a very erratic sleeper. So I've been working on a sleep formula, and so I've been checking. And now that I'm getting, like, you know, hours of deep sleep in a continuous time frame, I wake up more alkaline, and that is key, because normally it's like this cortisol is waking you up, or you're waking up to go to the bathroom. And so as you get rid of those disturbances, your physiology shifts, and that's where we're repairing while we sleep, right? But if we're in a high cortisol state, we're breaking down. And this is more critical for women because men have 10 times as much testosterone keeping their muscles and bones strong. With women, especially as we enter perimenopause, that those hormone levels have dropped. And even if we're supplementing, we still have, we still have the physiology to conquer.
Right. I think that's genius. So right around 7 is where you like to see it. But check it at multiple times throughout the day. And then do you mind just giving us a link where we can purchase those? Because I want to get those for myself. I love your maca greens. That's an awesome hormone balance blend. And then you've got another sleep formula too.
It's coming out. It's I haven't decided what we're naming it, but it was like we're coming up with like just sleepies or beauty Z's, and
Cool.
it
I like
has
that.
maca in it. It has sour cherry, and
Mm,
so I've incorporated a few. It has several, like 10 key ingredients, and I've been playing with it for years because I'm a tough sleeper,
yum.
and magnesium. So it's a really good sleep formula that'll be out in the next couple months. I'll let you know, and we can
Please
get you,
do.
we'll send you some of those Keto pH strips. I'll put a link here. It is in Amazon, but also at dranna.com, but I'll put a link in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So, yeah, because sleep is such a critical thing. I mean, if I could get all my patients just sleeping a good solid 7, 8 hours, like my job's like 95% done. Yeah, and so that's like I think that's a critical thing. So, I've been using catnip. I don't know if you use catnip, but it's a great sleeper. Anyway, I try all these weird things.
Catnip, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just finished. Do you know Sandman? Do you know Dr. John Lawrence? Big biohacker guy, but he's got Sandman, which is like a suppository melatonin blend.
Ooh,
CBD
okay.
and melatonin, but the suppository is like, I mean, all the blood vessels there. You get it really is a real deep sleep that way. But the melatonin levels, I got to a saturation level, and so I'm not using it anymore. It was just it got too much. So
Yes.
cycle on, cycle off is a thing. And Diane, what do I do with catnip? I steep it with some chamomile and drink it as a tea at night, and it's really nice. Um,
Ooh.
so yeah, catnip and chamomile is my new sleep strategy.
That sounds good. And the other thing I do for sleep too, especially in women, but also in men, is progesterone. A
Oh
little bit of progesterone in the evening. I mean, that is game changing. For men, typically, if we're doing oral, I typically do 50 milligrams. I don't know what you guys do for men, but
yeah.
women, 200, like a lot of, I just had another client yesterday getting 100 milligrams oral. And I just feel like especially in the perimenopause, it's just not enough. 200 or like in transdermal creams, progesterone absorbs really well. So a 20 milligram to 40 milligrams at night of cream works really well too. So that's like an essential brain builder. And that's the other thing I noticed as in this perimenopause when progesterone's plummeting and estrogen as well as plummeting. And this is why keto is not just a good idea for women in menopause, but mandatory, is because glucose utilization in the brain is a estrogen dependent process. And I really think, looking at the graphs, I really think it's a progesterone dependent. We're just not studying that yet in the brain.
Mm.
But with that, as our hormones are plummeting, and we have this brain fog, right? So that brain fog, our brains are starving essentially. And so getting into ketosis, just it's not hormone dependent whatsoever. This incredible clarity. I mean, I've written now 2 books. I just submitted my 3rd manuscript. I'll tell you guys about that book. It's a fun one. And I wouldn't have been able to do that. I was not able to do that, 6 years ago. I mean, that was that brain fog extraordinaire. And so I'd been wanting to write books for decades. And since then, I've now written 3. So it really, that clarity makes a difference. And getting into ketosis, I mean, that, and not just with high fat, high quality protein, you guys do this, the fasting, the no snacking. Oh my gosh, I had a date. I'm going to tell you this. You guys can we talk about this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So I had a date the other day with this great guy, and he has a physical trainer, and he works out 4 times a week with this trainer. And he's like, yeah, I'm kind of at this plateau, and she's monitoring my nutrition. I'm like, oh, wow. I think this is our first date. I got to be quiet, right? 'Cause, start telling him what he should be doing. Of course, not yet. No, I'm kidding.
Not yet. Yes.
Yeah. But, and he's like, yeah, she has me eating, 3 meals, 3 snacks a day. And I was like, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I was like, no wonder you're not losing weight. That's a sure way to get you diabetic. I mean, that might be
Right.
fine for a 20-year-old athlete, but
Mhm.
look, not at 50 something for sure.
Right.
So
Oh, and did
I'm like,
you?
people are still recommending snacking. We are not vocal enough. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And did you get a second date with this guy or?
Yeah, actually last night we had keto sushi. It was great.
Oh, nice. What keto sushi? How do you have keto sushi?
Oh, without rice. So these beautiful
Okay,
rolls,
just sashimi. Yeah.
yeah, well, kind of, but now they're getting so creative with the no rice sushi, like
Uh,
beautiful with jalapeno and roe. And I mean, it was really good.
oh,
Keto
nice.
sushi.
Look at you. Yeah, it's fun when you can share your insights with someone. So we had a question come in. Can women in their 20s and 30s haven't had kids yet benefit from some of these protocols or are these more targeted towards hormonal health and menopausal years? I guess some of the like progesterone, would you recommend that for someone in the younger category? Um,
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't start with progesterone in the youth at all, because I get to the underlying issues, and they can do keto green too. I've had so many 20-year-olds, and I just got a text message this morning from a 34-year-old who is pregnant, because she's been doing my program, and she texted me this morning and asked me about the coronavirus vaccine. Should she get it? She goes, first of all, thanks for, getting keto green, because now I'm pregnant. And secondly, should I get the vaccine? I'm like, hell no. But not in pregnancy.
Wait,
You're
what
not
was
an
that? Yeah.
experiment. Hell
Hell
no.
no, yeah.
Hell
But
no.
you're worried about the 36 miscarriages and the stillborn births that the CDC has reported from the post-vaccine. Yeah.
It's yeah, man. And it's like, first of all, just as a scientist, right? We did not study it in pregnancy. Do not use this population as a guinea pig, right? And we don't know even I've looked for animal studies, generational animal studies that go beyond fertility, nothing. I haven't found anything yet. And so that's even concerning. And plus, as a gynecologist, taking care of DES babies with cervical cancers and vaginal cancers. So from our DES that was FDA approved, diethylstilbestrone, and then thalidomide babies. So I'm like, in pregnancy, we do not experiment. We do not experiment.
No.
But with the in the 20s, I really work on maca. I really work on that keto green. And this is that group. And typically we see, like, especially women with PCOS, it's a physiology, right? They're not designed to sit 8 hours a day. I call them, they don't have like fat genes. They have Pocahontas genes. They have warrior genes, Amazonian genes. They are these women that are designed to be out in nature, in sunshine, exercising, doing some more endurance or strength, athletic
Social.
activities,
Yeah.
and fasting and eating keto green, staying away from the sugar, really honoring their physiology, and of course, take away all dairy. And that typically gets their periods painless, their skin clears up, their, if they're infertile issues, those resolve too. So
That's great. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on insulin resistance. You brought up PCOS, and I'm like, well, insulin resistance, and I see that as one of the major contributors for waking people up at night. Is their blood sugar drops, the cortisol creeps in, and then insulin wakes up to try to push, as gluconeogenesis happens, and the liver starts pushing sugar into the blood, and then they got to urinate, and they're like, oh, it's my prostate. With my dudes or my ladies are like, that's because I have a prolapsed bladder or whatever. And I'm like, well, let's think about some things we can look at. And what are your thoughts on insulin resistance?
oh my gosh, I mean, it really is a pandemic. I mean, that's the pandemic, is insulin resistance.
Yeah.
That's the the shot to our immune system, insulin resistance. And I think we've been so, especially women my age, I mean, way back in the 80s when we're in college or in high school, that whole low fat movement, and fat is essential for hormones. So retraining people to understand that keto green approach and that fat is essential for quality health. I mean, I'm running across these conversations on a regular basis, so we really, really have to emphasize that. And that's where we have to heal insulin resistance, the intermittent fasting, the no more snacking. We need some carbs, right? High quality carbs. And if we're going to do those carbs, we want to do them in the evening, especially for those people that are insulin resistant, because that, with the fat, with the healthy fat, will keep their blood sugar stable throughout the night, and then just retraining their circadian cycle. And I think part of working with these clients that really has the most success is sunrises and sunsets. I mean, really getting up, get that sunrise into your eyes, get those sunsets, and nothing. Or a really quick hack is 3 days of, country camping. I mean, just get out into the woods for 3 days, get in nature, let your body experience. That is a quick hack to reset your circadian rhythm, I
Man,
think.
I think that's genius. And I try to get out in the sun in the morning as, at least even if I'm driving to work with my window down, if it's 20 below and I'm getting some, nature that way. I mean, it's such an important thing. And then at night, my wife and I try to go and we live close to where we have a view of the Great Salt Lake. And
Mm.
so it's gorgeous when the sun's setting because you see this beautiful lake and the mountains. And so, yeah, I love that strategy for resetting the circadian rhythms.
Mhm.
Blue light blocking glasses at night are really critical. Dimming the lights. I mean, there's so many things you can do to really reset those rhythms. And
Yeah.
so, oh,
One thing too with that insulin resistance, sometimes they feel, the issue of testosterone too high, too low. And I really like to look at that and support their adrenals with insulin resistance too, because cortisol triggers worsening insulin resistance. So in my insulin, my patients with insulin resistance, supporting their adrenal glands is really critical. We do that with the Mighty Maca Plus formula and some DHEA, vitamin C, B vitamins,
yeah,
all the stress, check your pH, get alkaline, and that you can say, okay, my adrenals are functioning better. And that, we got just that your bladder prolapse comment. I'm like, okay, get them on Jolva or vaginal testosterone,
yeah.
and support the bladder. And then again, men with prostate issues, the benefits of hormones, testosterone, and it's good.
And so I mean, with women in testosterone, I have a lot of their endocrinologists will say, no, women, you should not be on testosterone. So if one of our physicians prescribes it, their endocrinologist just goes up in fits about that. Now, well, you want to grow a beard and look like a man, get male pattern baldness, but why is there such a stigma around giving females testosterone?
I do not know. I do not know. I mean, in balance, right? I think in the menopause and postmenopause, it's really mandatory. Now, I don't agree with a lot of the practices in 30s and 40s. We get to the underlying reason why the testosterone's not optimal and address those reasons, whether it's thyroid, toxicity, stress, all of those things that will take down our reproductive hormones, especially stress, everyday stress, post-traumatic stress. Even if it was years before, we have to retrain our physiology. And so I think that there maybe because there are some people prescribing testosterone badly, and we see the hair growth, the clitoromegaly, the hoarsening of the voice, and just behaviors. And when with men or women, I've lectured on testosterone and hormone replacement internationally. And one of the big things that I always lecture on when I'm talking about testosterone is, remember, these hormones affect our physiology, and physiology affects our behavior. And especially with testosterone, and it can increase irritability, anger, agitation, novelty seeking behaviors, and affairs. And so when you're on replacement and you start experiencing behaviors that aren't typical to you, it's likely too high of a level. And that's been a problem, because I consulted with a really well-known national, international hormone replacement clinic, over 12 years ago. And I asked them, what are your divorce rates? And they were really, really high. So that's not the goal of us. We want to maintain relationships, maintain intimacy, increase the longevity of our marriages in a very healthy way. That's what we start going to the clinic for. But then with these high levels of testosterone, you feel great. And, and all of a sudden, this novelty seeking behavior sets. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I've definitely seen it. And when you start, there's this expression we had at Emory, and it's a really great expression. We used it in surgery, but it was, the eyes don't see what the mind don't know. So once your mind knows it, you're like, man, okay, I see this everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's my Dan Sullivan says, the eyes only see and the ears only hear what.
Uh-oh, Reagan. Did we lose him?
Did we lose Regan?
Right at the punchline.
I know. Wait.
Reagan.
The eyes don't see and the ears don't hear.
Oh boy. He must be having some internet glitch problems. That's really intriguing though, how you'll see that. So it's in elevated levels of testosterone is where you'll start to see that.
Really high. And that
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you start asking questions from, like, when see patients and they've divorced or what the situation may have been, say, well, when did you start taking the testosterone, and, when was the divorce? And typically before they started taking testosterone. Yeah. And then again, of course, as a gynecologist, I'm like, okay, great. Men have their testosterone, they got their libido, they've got their Viagra, they're all good. And then women, we have the vaginal dryness issues, the, incontinence issues. And so, like, that's been, where we can use hormones and why I created Julva, to really help women's sexual health issues. And that makes a difference, because, and testosterone has a nice role in women's sexual health. I mean, I take a couple milligrams a day in a troche, and a nice low dose, a nice physiologic, healthy low dose, because too, I know, that too much testosterone is going to make me exhibit behaviors that aren't conducive to a healthy, normal life. So.
Wow. Hey, I apologize.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
We're still waiting for the punchline. That was the worst cliffhanger ever on the
I did that on purpose. I actually clicked my Wi-Fi with. No, so the eyes only see and the ears only hear what the brain is looking for. So that was it.
That's good.
So pretty powerful, and I appreciate the clarity on testosterone and just your frankness with it, and just wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about your new book. I mean, your books, your products, what you've done has been incredible, because it's not like you had one of your mentors from Emory say, you're a great OBGYN, you're triple board certified, and you got all these things going for you. Maybe you should go and help the world on a bigger scale. I mean, you had to find this within yourself, which I have so much respect for, because it takes a lot of courage. And you've written 2 amazing books. So tell us about the latest one that's coming out, because you guys are going to be the first to hear about this. So.
Yes, you guys are the first to hear of it. It just got accepted by the publisher at a Penguin Random House yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited, because we submitted the manuscript last week, and it's been like, I've been on eggshells. Like, okay, are they going to like it, not like it? Oh my God, they're thrilled. Okay, so here's the title: Menopause.
Oh,
just laugh every time I say it.
Menopause, like the menu.
That's great.
For menopause.
For menopause, that is genius.
Isn't that great?
Well, you told me keto green, it just put together. Like, when you can create a name, words are so powerful. You just said you're like a wordsmither. You're a genius.
Well, I had help with that one. My editor helped me with that name for sure. But it was like we'd gone through. I mean, when that one came up, oh yeah, that was golden. And it does. It makes me laugh every time I say it. So it's really actually an ingenious plan because we've done my hormone fix with 10-day and 21-day maintenance plans. I like people to start there, and plus all the parts that we talk about, from oxytocin and stress to hormone disruptors. I mean, all in the hormone fix. For me, that's, everyone should read that book, every woman, especially over 40. And then
Yeah.
Keto Green 16, a 16-day plan that works like a rock star. I mean, it just works. And doesn't matter if we've been in a plateau or what the situation is. So now we have women that have been keto green for a while, and sometimes you hit that plateau plus more stress. And so Menopause is a series of, there's six-day plans that are designed to break the plateau. So one, a very keto green extreme plan that follows more like an AIP protocol, and another very restricted carb, and another that is more of a vegan vegetarian carb up plan, because sometimes we just need to carb up, and another fasting plan. And so there's like these just, like you just have to change things up, just like in exercise, right? You have to work different muscle groups. So that's it's going to be fun to see how people are going to do on it. And we've been playing with it. I've been playing with it now for almost a year as I've been writing it.
Yeah, and I
And
love that.
yeah.
And I like the I mean, it sounds like you're talking a lot about metabolic flexibility in that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that's where we get too dogmatic in a lifestyle or a diet. And it's like, well, actually there are some days like 2 days ago, I was so hungry. I ate twice the calories that I usually do. I slept great. So it wasn't like this immune or like it wasn't like an insulin resistant state, but it was just like, man, I've been working my body hard. And I think my body was like, okay, get some nutrients in. And so Menopause, that's awesome. And so
I love it.
so the book, when will it be out? What's the
Not till next year. Just
Okay,
got,
so we gotta
yeah,
wait.
till spring of next year. So, ideally before Mother's Day. So it'll be really a launch right before Mother's Day, a good time to get the book out in springtime. So it takes a long time because in this book we have 125 recipes,
Wow.
and our publisher is adding a lot of color photography. And so it really will be a pretty book too. So
Great.
it's a must-have book. Yeah.
I love that. Always look at the pictures before I read the books, and then I
Me too.
always start from the back and read to the front first. And so, so I can't wait to get to take a look at it. And so, if you had just something that you would recommend to people just to get started, I mean, would it be the Keto Green 16, or what's a good place for people to start who want to start exploring keto and see if they can optimize their health that way?
Yeah, I think like if we're struggling with hormonal issues and menopause, I would start with the hormone fix. And then if we're like, okay, well, I'll get to that after I really need these, 16 pounds off or whatever, or 10 pounds off, let's like kickstart that right into Keto Green 16. And that puts us, again, it's not just about what we eat. So Keto Green 16 I made the recipe simple, 16 key food types, ingredients, and then 16 hours of intermittent fasting. And a 16-day plan. So in those 16 days, we can really see a shift. We've been running research group medical visits out of Dr. Angeli Akey's office in Gainesville, Florida, at her integrative medical practice. She's been doing group medical visits. And so when I was studying the 16-day plan and trying to optimize it, using her clients. And so right before coronavirus last year, right about this time, I went down and gave the talk for the group medical visit and got everyone started with Keto Green 16. And then we went, and both men and women, and we went right into lockdown. And so followed up virtually. And a couple things they said, number one, it was great to have community and doing something and accountability and having a plan to focus on, because while other people were shut in and scared, they felt empowered and focused. And then I had a couple, a husband, wife, and she lost 11 pounds and just felt like so much better in those 16 days. And he started feeling a little bit shaky, a little uneasy. He was losing weight very quickly, went into Dr. Akey, making sure that he didn't have coronavirus, and his blood pressure was so low, she had to take him off his blood pressure medicine. So wean him way down off his blood pressure medicine. He's still, doing great. He lost 30 pounds in 16 days. And so, I mean, that was extraordinary results. And just seeing the blood pressure improvements, the hormone improvements, the energy. We've even in 1 month, we're supposed to just look at hemoglobin A1C in 2 months, that we did in 1 month, and we saw hemoglobin A1C drop from 6.0 to 5.4. So we can make these changes very quickly because it's the food we're eating, when we're eating it, of course it's who we're eating it with. We don't want to be stressed when we're eating.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So all of those things do make a difference. So Keto Green 16 kind of is a fast track, and then go back and read the Hormone Fix. Yeah.
Okay, got it. And so I mean, are you doing groups right now? Are you accepting new applicants, or what are some ways people can work with you directly?
So right now through my online program, so I have Magic Menopause, which will launch again in a few months. And then my sexual CPR program, and have my Girlfriend Doctor Club. So I'm live in my Girlfriend Doctor Club twice a month with calls like this, where everyone can come on and ask questions. We put a couple people in the hot seat. And it's really been focused on, like, January, we started out with a Keto Green 16 challenge. February was about relationships. This month is about resilience. And we did 3 days of fasting together. And so that's kind of how I'm working with clients right now, especially those that are, that followed program, read my books, and want to take the next step. And so that's been really, really fun. It's kind of creating this community.
That's awesome. I like the sexual CPR, because yeah, so some of us need that. And yes, I mean, so what do you do in the sexual CPR? I mean, is
Oh
this
my gosh, you have to enter to find out. Sexual
That's a
CPR.
secret, Reagan.
ooh,
That's it. That's it. Yeah, it is great. I've had both men and women do sexual CPR. It's certainly designed for women, but we have men's class in there too. And it's so wonderful. I don't know if you know Dr. Jay Mattingly, but he took the program right when it first came out, and he goes, "Thanks for making." He was on a second marriage. He goes, "Thanks for making a good relationship even better." And sometimes you fall into the rut of being roommates instead of boyfriend girlfriend, instead of lovers, right? And I hear that in marriage over and over and over again. We're roommates, or we were roommates for years. We finally divorced, or with the situation. We don't want that. So understanding that I have my first class is called 911. So my first class is, it really goes through the multiple levels of reasons why we lose our sexy or our sexual desire or receptivity. And so, like, from whether it's medications we're taking without realizing, I mean, asthma meds, antihistamines, right? And that thing when we just naturally hormonally getting drier, what we can do about each and every one of these issues that create a block, past trauma, and what we can do to recognize and work through it, and, religious beliefs, and stigmas associated with it. And sometimes something someone said, and just uncovering, something someone may have said that shut a person down sexually, and it could have been 50 years ago. And so it's really a beautiful program from that perspective. Then of course, anatomy and physiology, and just teaching the erogenous zones. Men, it's located to one area, you can figure that area, but women all over their bodies, right? And so understanding the many erogenous zones, and then really getting clear that with men and women, and for women especially, to understand this really one important point. I would say this one secret all women need to know about men. And I did survey. I surveyed men all around the profession, and some of the most chauvinistic men I know. And I would say, well, what's your number one turn on about being intimate with your partner? What's your number one turn on? And what makes what makes you desire having sex over again? What's your number one turn on? And over the men told me her turn on. When she was happy, when she was turned on, That's his turn on. And women need to hear that. Women need to hear that, because think, oh, well, let me just check off the to-do box to have sex with my husband today. It's not about that. It's about your turn on, your pleasure. And so for women, learning to speak that and understanding, how do I experience pleasure? What makes me happy? Where am I happiest? Inside and outside the bedroom.
Right.
Game changing for a relationship. Game changing.
Man,
Yeah.
that is so I mean, that observation is so key, so critical. Yeah, this has been such a fun conversation, and we're coming to the end already. I have tears in my eyes because I want to keep talking to you, but camera's telling us, Reagan, you got to close it up. So so this has been really I just love your work. I love everything you're doing. I think you're one of the few people that I've had such congruent thoughts with, and I'm so glad I could get you back on. I want to get down to Dallas and come visit. And
Let's do it.
Kate and I grew up on a farm, so we want to ride your horses. And
Oh
I have
yeah,
3
it's
barrel
been a
racing
minute.
seasons. One, you guys, if you've got,
My hair is
let's
styled
do
in
it.
a
Let's
perfect
do it.
mullet, so it's really bringing out the Idaho today.
yeah.
So
Oh man, we'll put a cowboy hat on you, and I tell you, I like it.
Yeah,
there we go.
great.
Seriously, it'd be
Cameron's
fun.
moving to Texas. Nice.
Yeah,
Who's moving to Texas?
Cameron,
Our production, our producer.
yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Seriously. And then I'll drive you around in the dually.
Oh, you got a dually? Man, I like how you roll. This is awesome. Wow.
All in, all in.
Love it.
Go
What kind?
It's a Ford F-350.
You got a Ford? All right.
F-350. Yep. And I'm hauling what is it? A 4-horse trailer with 33 feet. Man, I like my little old Mercedes sedan.
Nice.
This is a totally new world.
Oh, I love it. In the world of the rancher, the
That's
rodeo. Awesome. Well, this
Great
this
being
has
here
been-
with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. And we love you guys. You guys have a great week. And get in touch with Dr. Anna, getting her programs. She will change your life. So
Awesome. And we'll be sending out an email with the notes and how to access her site and everything very shortly. I think Anna will be sending that out to everyone. Thank you again, Dr. Anna, for joining us. Love the conversation. It's always great. For those of you on the show, on the webinar, we'll be back same time, same place next week. Also get enrolled in our hacks and be jamming on the challenge. We got adding in electrolytes at night, drinking before. What's the full challenge, Reagan?
an hour before bed, stop drinking. So you're not waking up because you got to pee, and get electrolytes in your system. It's good for the adrenals, good for cortisol. And then in the morning when you wake up, get a glass of water in with electrolytes. No sugar in your electrolytes, a keto electrolytes. Yes.
Yeah, I saw, I can't remember who it was, but they had posted that I looked at my electrolytes and there's so much sugar in there. So make sure you're getting really good, clean electrolytes. Sounds like you got some resources with Dr. Anna's stuff here too. So we'll see you guys next week. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.